RT.
Hey, Nick.
Hey, how you doing today?
I'm doing great.
Good. Welcome back to the podcast, Tough Men of Faith. You ready?
I'm excited and ready to go today.
This is going to start your mini-series, right?
We're starting our
The
mini-series.
Our.
See, I realize
both
that this
have to
one's a little different. Like, I'm grabbing the Proverbs.
Yeah.
I'm thinking through some things on it, and then I'm just kind of throwing it at, like I just told you, like, hey, this is the proverb we're talking about.
This is what we're going to do, is what
Yeah.
you said. Yeah.
So I've spent a couple of days, like, pondering and thinking on this
Yeah, you
proverb.
went over this. I haven't had much
And
time.
you haven't. So I think that's how this series is going to go.
Yeah.
So you're just going to have to jump in there and, like,
I'm ready. It's going to be fun, I hope.
talk through it and
For the
give some examples.
flyover Proverbs.
Fly over Proverbs. So just to kind of start, Proverbs, it's an interesting book of the Bible, but it's just like short sayings,
Yeah.
like wisdom.
Right.
They're all kinds of them.
Yeah.
Like I mentioned to you before, I actually gave you the wrong verse. I gave you Proverbs 25:24 first.
Oh, okay.
Which is, it's better to live in a corner of a housetop than in a house shared with a quarrelsome wife.
Well, yeah. Duh.
That's not one we're talking about today.
Is the corner of my house, is that like my man cave in the garage?
The best thing you can do for that verse is not try to apply it to you.
Great. Thank you.
So-
Good to know.
Yeah, let me just help you out there.
Okay. Thank you.
So it's going to be a little bit shorter. So the kind of hope is like,
Okay.
we're just going to grab one verse,
Yeah.
talk through it a little bit, and like, hey, here's some things maybe you guys can grab from it,
Okay.
and try to apply it this week, right? So really
Great.
practical, I think, is what we're looking for on this one.
Okay.
So
I'm a really practical kind of guy, so
I am
we
too.
got
Like,
that.
I'm not a long sermon type of guy, or
No kidding.
no, like
That's why I started going to your church, because like this guy gets straight to the point, tells a couple of jokes, has a good time with it, short and sweet, and gets in and gets out.
yeah, I just like you need something like to take and do this week.
Yeah.
It's not that you can listen to sermon after sermon and
Right.
read book after book, but if you never apply any of it,
Yeah.
it doesn't change anything. So
I
what does
like
it
it.
matter? Like, what's the point?
Yeah.
So in Proverbs, I really enjoy the book of Proverbs because it's like one verse and it's like convicting. It's like, oh, you should be doing this. And You're
Yeah.
not doing this. And so this week I'm going to work on doing this. So,
You're an applicable pastor.
applicable pastor.
Yeah. You like that?
This kind of leads into where we're going today. Proverbs 14:23.
All right.
Do you have it pulled up?
I do. You want me to read it?
Sure.
Here we go. In all toil there is profit, but mere talk tends only to poverty.
So I never get a title to the episodes, but if I did, if producer Blake let me,
Yeah.
I would call this one "Talk is Cheap."
Oh yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Talk is cheap.
So the verse says that, hey, in all toil, so when you're doing something,
Yeah.
there's at least profit because you're at least trying to do something.
Yeah. There should be profit.
There should be. But when you just talk about it all the time, it leads to poverty
Yeah.
or nothing happens.
Right.
Like nothing's moving.
Man, look at all the people that have found this out the hard way. Look at all
Yeah.
the people that talk about doing something
Yeah.
and never start to do it, never even attempt to start to do it, and just it never goes anywhere. It never
Yeah.
does anything.
Well, I would put it, so maybe a better title than Talk is Cheap
Yeah.
would be Just Do Something,
Right.
which I think we had something similar on one of the episodes. But,
Yeah.
but it's a thought that, hey, it's really easy to talk about it.
Yeah.
It's really tough to actually do something. But, as men, we should be taking action,
Yeah.
not just constantly talking about it.
Well, look at this podcast.
That's
We talked
true.
about doing this for a while, and we didn't jump into it for a little bit,
Mhm.
and then not that there's been like monetary profit here, but there's been profit. People are listening to it. That the people that you wouldn't find in a church on a Sunday morning are listening to two guys talk about the Bible and breaking
Yeah.
things down, and I mean, there's profit there.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good
Oh.
way to look at it because we spent time talking about it. And if we could have talked about it for years.
Yeah.
It would have never been perfect, right? We never had it all figured out
Right.
and had enough time.
It's not perfect now, by the
No,
way.
well, it's not. We never had the time and the resources and everything we wanted to do it. Like
Right.
we finally
Yeah,
just
there's
showed
always something that we want to add to it and make it better and do
Yeah.
it. And had we waited for all that stuff to materialize, we would have never got started. I mean, we'd still be waiting.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it comes down, right? So if all you do is talk, you never achieve anything.
Yeah.
Whereas the verse says that mere talk tends only to poverty.
Right.
Like if you just talk and talk, like nothing's going to happen.
Yeah.
But so many times I think we don't take action because we want things to be perfect
Yeah.
before we get moving on.
Look at all the guys with projects in their garage they're going to get to one day.
it.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of goes along with the same thing, though. They talk about it. It's there. They never jump into it. And they never get a little grease on their elbows, and they just never jump into it and start going on it. It's just there, and it's like it leads to nothing in the end.
Yeah. Well, I mean, success comes to people who do something.
Right.
Right. So the ones that talk about it, you're not
Yeah.
going to be successful in life.
You're right.
Right. So, yeah, I heard this quote. It was something like, "Done is better than perfect because perfect never gets done."
Okay.
So done is better than perfect because perfect never gets done. So
Yeah.
if you're waiting for perfect,
Yeah, you're never gonna
never
gonna get it.
happen. Yeah, I don't know. That's where I've kind of been at. I kind of learned this early on. I've shared before that I was a farrier in high school.
Yeah.
A horseshoer.
Right, yeah.
You want to make fun of me again for this?
I'm not going to call you a fairy again.
Okay.
Yeah. I've done enough of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I remember, so I did it with my grandpa.
Right.
And when you start, like, I didn't have a clue what I was doing. Like, if tomorrow you decide you're going to be a horseshoer and you started working with one.
Dude, I watched those TikTok videos of the guys cutting, like, the overgrown horse hooves.
Hooves?
Not toenails.
Yeah. No, not toenails.
Yeah, but have you seen those?
No, I have not.
They're some of the grossest videos
It's going to surprise you, but I'm not on TikTok.
I'm not either. Well, I don't know what kind of video it is. It comes up on the Facebook. It's like, there's like reels or something maybe. I don't know what it's called. But anyway, it doesn't matter. They're like 20-second videos.
Okay.
It's like these people taking like, it's like a straight edge tool blade, something rather, and they're like carving these hooves.
Yeah.
It's the grossest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah. I have some of those tools if you want to.
I don't.
Okay.
I might need them.
Anyways, what I was saying.
Rachel would say that I need to borrow those.
For you.
Yeah. For me.
I remember my second day I went out with him. He dropped me off at a house, and you'd go to like the barn, and you get the horse ready, and you do all these things. But he had to leave as soon as we got there. And so he left me at the barn by myself with the owner that was there. I didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
So I just sat there in the barn.
Yeah.
So he shows up like an hour later. So he came back an hour later.
What have you been doing the whole time, RT?
Yeah. Yeah. It wasn't quite as friendly as what you just said.
Yeah, I'm sure. I was trying to clean it up.
But he's like, what? Basically, like, yeah, what have you been doing? It's like,
well,
I didn't know what to do. Like, this is my second day. I don't know how to shoe a horse.
Right.
I remember him saying, like, do something.
Right.
Like, just do something.
Yeah,
like,
look busy because I'm charging this guy,
Yeah.
by the hour, and you've been sitting here for 2 hours
like
looking at his horse.
He's like, you could have got the horse out, started getting it ready. You could have started getting the tools unloaded. He's like, I would have been happier if you'd at least done something, even if you got every tool out of the truck and had it out here ready for me. At least you'd have done something instead of sitting there. So I learned a valuable lesson that day that it's like you need to take action and do something, right? So
yeah, I learned a lesson kind of like that a few years ago, but it's like whenever the boss walks up, don't ever look not busy.
Yeah.
Always look like,
busy.
Even if you're faking it, just, no, different lesson.
Or actually be busy. Right?
Yeah, or actually be busy.
Yeah.
But, if you're not going to be busy, at least fake it.
But this practically, it plays out in our lives. Like how many, and I've been guilty of this too myself. It's like, have you ever made empty promises like to your friends or to your boss? You're like, hey, I'm really good at this. I know exactly what I'm doing. And then you never come through on a project.
Yeah. Or you got to fake it till you make it.
Fake it. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been there a few times.
Have you?
Yeah.
Well, what about with your wife?
No.
No, that's not what I'm talking about.
I don't have to fake it till I make it.
That's not what I'm talking about. I was trying to get like these practical steps, and you're talking about.
I'm not.
No, I don't know what's going on. Okay.
All right, clean it up.
Clean it up. All right. Just know that I was not following your train of thought with where I'm going.
That's good.
All right, so you can tell your wife that
That's why you and I work so well together, because you're not following my train of thought, but you will happily jump on board that train in the right circumstances.
All right. Let's say you tell your wife you love them.
Yeah.
Which you should.
I do.
Okay, and you do.
Yeah.
It's not a faking it. You actually love your wife.
Correct.
But you don't spend any time with her.
Right.
What is that telling her?
Yeah, if you're not showing it.
Yeah.
I think we've talked about this on multiple occasions. My wife just brought it up last night at dinner.
Yeah.
Of course, I looked up something on my phone,
and
she just gives me this death stare. And I was like, what is it? She's like, I just wondered how many people were going to be at dinner with us tonight. Well, it's you and I. Duh. We're the only two here. And she's like, can you put the phone down? Like, yeah.
That is the greatest comment ever.
Yeah.
I'm dying. Producer Blake's dying. Yeah.
How many people are going to be at dinner with us tonight?
I'm going to use that myself.
Are you?
Yeah.
Yeah, you should. Good luck with that.
Yeah. Not at home.
Oh, okay.
I'm not that dumb.
Yeah, when you're with other people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, she's smart for doing it to you.
Right.
I find that hilarious. I would not try it at my house.
She shouldn't have told me that, because now I will use it somewhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I bet you felt pretty guilty on that, though.
But I did. But, it's just same thing. It's like you tell your wife you love her, and you tell her you want to spend time with her, and then it's you, her, and the phone. And,
what's your actions say?
Right. So.
Yeah, or you tell someone that, they're a buddy, they're a good friend, and then they go through a tough time. Yeah. Do you stick by them during that time? Right. Because action is what speaks louder than words.
You let them go deal with it on their own, and
is that what it is?
When they're fun to be around again, then you hang out with them.
Yeah.
No, that's not what you do.
No. I picked up on your sarcasm.
Yeah, thanks.
So I think it comes down to, words are easy.
Yeah.
It's really easy to talk a big game.
Right.
But it's tough to actually do something.
Well, yeah, and but it's profitable in the end.
It is.
Of some way. It might not be a monetary profit, but it's profitable in the end once you get into something and actually start doing something.
Yeah. So I love this verse. In all toil, there's profit.
Right.
It's like do something, right?
Yeah.
Let's at least try something. But mere talk leads only to poverty.
Yep.
Destruction.
Right.
I don't know. That's been a good proverb for me this week to kind of look at.
Great. I'm going to go home and try and dig myself out of trouble.
Perfect.
But,
talk is cheap. So show
talk is cheap. So
talk is
quit
cheap.
saying sorry.
What's my
sorry.
titles? Just do something or talk is cheap is what we're calling this.
I think
one.
just do something.
I think talk is cheap.
All right. Talk is cheap.
Actually, it doesn't matter. Producer Blake's going to come up with his own creative title, and neither one is going to work.
Yeah.
All right. So next week,
What are we digging into?
Another
We're
proverb.
just doing one, or we're going to do two?
We're going to do one a week.
Okay. Great.
That's what I said at the beginning. Remember, were you even listening to me?
No.
I said we got
Talk
like
is
one.
cheap.
I said we got one main point, and we're going to drive that home. And it's going to be a little bit of a shorter episode, but what we want is you to, like what we're doing is trying to apply that this week.
Gotcha.
So do something this week.
It's not the one that go hide in the corner of your house, right?
No,
Good.
so we're not talking about that one.
Good.
You want me to tell you what we're going to talk about next week?
No.
Okay.
I think it should be a surprise.
All right, a surprise, but it's another proverb.
Yeah.
All right, sounds good.
All right.
Appreciate you guys joining us this week for Tough Men of Faith, and we can't wait to be back next week for another proverb.
See y'all next week.